There are stories that are never truly spoken, but can be felt. Stories that need no acknowledgement, no clarification, because every gesture, every glance, and every smile that slips out unconsciously already tells the whole story. It is stories like this that many fans believe happened between Hou Minghao and Yuxiao. No one knows for sure when it all began, but there are thousands of small pieces that, when put together, feel like a journey of two hearts slowly drawing closer to each other. Everything seems simple on the surface. Two young, talented, and professional actors who met on the same project. They read scripts, rehearsed scenes, and went through day after day of an exhausting schedule. But behind that routine, fans noticed something different. There was a warmth in their interactions that was hard to explain. There was a comfort that usually only arises when two people find a common frequency, even though they have only just met. Many believe that this small seed began to grow long before the cameras first rolled. Script readings were always a place where the two actors got to know each other's characters. But for Minghao and Yuxiao, script reading became more than just work. As they sat side by side, holding the same papers, and discussing their characters with enthusiasm, a mutual admiration that couldn't be contained emerged. Minghao listened to every sentence Yuxiao uttered with an intensity that was almost unusual. It wasn't a pressing intensity, but one that showed genuine attention. Yuxiao also looked comfortable. Every time he explained his interpretation of the role, he turned to Minghao as if to make sure that his opinion made sense to him. And every time Minghao nodded with a slight smile, Yuxiao's gaze softened, as if he had found someone who truly understood his way of working. Those first days became the foundation for something deeper. When filming began, their chemistry was immediately apparent, as if they had been working together for years. There was no awkwardness, no distance, just two people moving in sync, as if their energies were meant to merge in a single frame. The staff was often amazed at how quickly they blended into intense scenes, as if they weren't acting, but actually feeling every emotion in the script. But the moments that fans talked about the most were when the camera wasn't rolling. On one occasion, during an exhausting break from filming, Yuxiao sat massaging his temples. Minghao, who had just picked up a cold drink, watched him from afar. Without a word, he walked over, opened the bottle, and handed it to him. The gesture was reflexive, not something he thought about, not something he did for the camera. And when Yuxiao accepted it with a surprised look and a soft smile that slowly appeared, there was something in their eyes that couldn't be hidden. For a moment, the world around them seemed to fade away. Fans who noticed this detail in the behind-the-scenes video speculated, maybe this is where everything changed. Minghao wasn't someone who easily showed his feelings, but around Yuxiao, he seemed more relaxed, more open. He laughed more often when he was by her side, even when the funny thing was just a minor mistake or a light joke. When Yuxiao spoke, Minghao seemed to pay full attention, as if her voice had a special appeal. Meanwhile, every time Minghao smiled, Yuxiao smiled too, even when she was busy with something else. This kind of connection cannot be faked, and observant viewers could see that there was something warm flowing between the two of them. Their interactions in interviews added to the list of moments that made fans even more convinced. When they sat side by side during promotional events, there was a natural aura that was difficult to hide. Perhaps it was the way they stole glances without realizing it, or the way they moved a little closer to each other every time one of them spoke. Their body language blended together without them noticing. Every little laugh that escaped Yuxiao's lips was followed by Minghao's, and vice versa. When asked about their collaboration, their answers were always consistent, warm, honest, and filled with subtle admiration. The way Yuxiao said that Minghao helps more than meets the eye sparked huge speculation, and the way Minghao looked at him as he said it made fans' hearts flutter. However, Perhaps the most emotional moment that is often considered a turning point in their relationship was when they finished a difficult scene that required high emotional intensity. In that scene, both of them had to display complex emotions, and the atmosphere on set was so quiet that every breath could be heard clearly. When the director finally shouted "cut," Yuxiao still seemed to be carried away by her emotions. Her eyes were teary, and she looked down to catch her breath. Without hesitation, Minghao approached her, placed a gentle hand on her back, and whispered a few words that were inaudible. But their body language spoke louder than any sound the microphone could capture. Yuxiao slowly lifted her face, and when their gazes met, there was an indescribable intimacy in the silence. The smile on Minghao's face was reassuring, not forced. He seemed genuinely concerned, and Yuxiao, despite still wiping away the tears that had accidentally appeared, looked at him with an undeniable warmth. Fans believed that in that moment, they were not just two actors supporting each other, but two people who understood each other far beyond the script. After that incident, their interactions felt more subtle, yet more intense. The way they walked together to the filming location, the way Yuxiao smoothed Minghao's hair before a take, the way Minghao offered her his jacket when it was cold, none of these were mere small gestures anymore. They showed a comfort that usually only appears when two hearts begin to choose each other, even without words. As time passed, their chemistry grew stronger. Even in simple moments like behind-the-scenes vlogs or promotional video clips, that warm aura never faded. Many fans felt that even though they maintained their professionalism, their emotional closeness was impossible to hide. Yuxiao seems to look over at Minghao more often to make sure he's nearby, while Minghao reflexively checks on Yuxiao, whether he's tired, thirsty, or just needs a laugh. To this day, no one knows if those feelings exist in real life because they've never confirmed anything. However, for fans, love does not always need an official statement. Sometimes, love can be seen in the way two people treat each other, in the sincerity that flows between their small interactions, in the glances that are too gentle to ignore, in the togetherness that is too natural to be called a coincidence. Is this really love? Only they know. But if love does begin with small gestures of attention, with a sense of comfort that grows slowly, with understanding without words, then many fans believe that their story is one of the most beautiful. The story of two people who, without realizing it, have given each other warmth in the midst of a harsh and demanding world. The story of two hearts that may never have intended to fall in love, but instead found each other on a long journey they never planned. And even if all of this is just a sweet interpretation by fans, it remains a story worth telling. Because whatever really happened behind the scenes, one thing is clear: Minghao and Yuxiao's moments have touched many hearts. They are a testament to how connections can form so naturally, so gently, and so vibrantly, so much so that fans dare to say, their love doesn't need confirmation because it already feels real just from the way they look at each other.